Hey, welcome to part 2. This is where the fun really begins. So, in this video, we are going to start building and developing our components and pages. And the first thing that I want to work on is actually this component right here, this cookies consent banner. Basically, if the user is visiting our website for the first time, the user cannot click anywhere, can actually scroll and see, the website, but cannot really interact with it until accepts our terms of usage, our cookies policy, our privacy policy, whatever. And in fact, I am linking to the privacy policy here, and if I click here, as you can see, the user can read it but cannot click anywhere, cannot do anything. Okay, so this means even if the user for any reason knows our routes, I can just go here and type airport transfers. Even if I do this manually, it takes like a fraction of a second, but the user cannot click anywhere, cannot interact with the website until clicks this button to accept, and then can actually navigate the website. So we are going to be building this component, but before that, in our final project, I'm actually going to go and click on that button right here, boom, and now I can definitely navigate and click wherever I want. So this is what we are going to be building right away. And because on part 1 we organized all of the structure, we created the basic structure for our custom components, custom pages, and all of that, now really is the time to dive in and start coding. So I want to go to my app folder, open my components folder, and find my cookies consent. And as you can see, this is just the basic structure as I mentioned it to you. Okay, and this is what we want. So now we are going to be building this component, okay, and later we'll use this component somewhere else in order to get this cookie consent banner in every single page with one single import. That's the goal. Okay, so let's start then. I'm just going to mention that if you remember or not, we have installed in part 1 some packages. So we can actually check the package.json, and we will be using this package to achieve the goal, cookies next. So this is the way that I found to develop and install our cookies consent banner. Okay, let's start working. So components, as I said, and we can go to cookies consent, and there we are. Super cool. So I know in advance that this package will require us to use client. Okay, so I'm gonna start by adding that at the top. And I also, of course, know that I will need a few imports. So I'm going to copy paste them and explain them really quickly to you. So this is the imports that I'm going to be needing. So I'm importing React. I'm importing these hooks from cookies.next package, and I'm importing NextJS link because, of course, we want to link to another page. So this is what we have. We are going to use use effect, React use effect in a different way. We are going to be using things. I'm not gonna bother explaining you the technical parts of this that much. I also checked how to do this and just adapted to my needs. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm basically going to be showing you the code, and I'm not going to spend much time on this topic. So I'm just going to start by creating a const. Okay, this const, I'm gonna call it, let me think, show consent, because we are trying to get the user consent, okay, in order to move on and be able to navigate our website. Set show consent, and for this you normally would use like your use state from React, so in a different way, but I found this example and I'm sticking to this use state. Chances are that you can do this in a similar way, but that doesn't matter that much as long as you can get it up and running, in my opinion. Okay, then I'm gonna say React use effect, and of course you can read the documentation for this package and you can see examples and understand a bit better what I'm doing. Okay, so in here I'm gonna have like anonymous arrow function, the usual stuff I believe, and I'm gonna use this to update my variable there, and I'm gonna check if this has cookies in the browser or not. So as cookie, I think this is the correct one. And I need here to add the string for local consent. Okay, I think this is good so far. React use effect, and I need to add the empty array here, not an object. Okay, on previous videos I explained this, so yeah, I don't know on each one, but this is called a dependency array if I'm not wrong. So just Google React.js dependency array hook, something like that, and you can read about it. I'm not gonna bother spending much time on this topic. Now I need to create a const that I'm gonna be calling accept cookies, and that const actually is going to change this. So let me think. Const accept cookie equals arrow function, and I'm going to be using this. Let me think. So I'm gonna set it to true. As I said, I basically copied this logic from an example that I found online. I just rebuilt the UI. I actually personally don't even spend much time trying to understand this that much. I just thought of it and checked the code a little bit, but I'm not trying to understand every single technical detail, because I don't really need it. I just need to have it up and running. So to be honest, that's it. So now I'm going to use set cookie. Okay. And I'm going to need to use again the local consent string. Okay. And local consent. I also need to use true and an empty object right here. And I need to check if this is true or not. So I need to use the typical if else. So if show consent is true, if this is true, all I want to do is return null. Return null. Okay. I think I am not forgetting anything. So let's just build a UI then. So I'm gonna go here and say class name, fixed, inset 0, cool. BG slate 700, BG BG opacity of 70, because I want the user to be able to read through before clicking. So I have a BG, dark color BG, but I'm lowering the opacity so the user can read a bit. That's the goal, okay? And this needs to be at the top of everything else, okay? So I'm gonna use a custom huge z index number that I know that I won't be matching, so I'm gonna say 5,000, okay, just to be sure. Okay, now in here I need another div, and this div will basically contain two things, okay? A span tag, so a span tag, if I can type, span tag, there we go. And I'm also, the span tag is going to hold my text, of course, and I'm also going to need a button that the user can click on in order to make this banner go away. Okay, so this outer div also needs a bit of styling, so let's do that first so we don't forget. I'm actually going to enlarge this a little bit so you see all the classes that I'm using, and I can actually break it here so it's a bit more readable. This needs to be fixed, of course, and right at the bottom, as we saw. So bottom of 0, of course, left of 0, and I want to use the flex property. So flex, and I'm gonna say items center justify between padding horizontally of 4, padding vertically of 8, and I want to use my custom color. If you remember, we extended the theme to use our custom colors. So, and we did that on part 1, and the custom colors will be coming from here, this file. So I want to use my custom gold color, I believe. Yeah, so BG custom underscore gold, okay? Text custom white. Okay, now the span, I'm gonna just close this. Now we need to work on the span, okay? And I'm just gonna copy, of course, the text that I wrote for the span, and I'm gonna copy it all. So this span will hold some text, as we can see it right here, okay? But we also use the link component from Next to link to our privacy policy in case the user wants to read it, of course. So we need to also give that option, and we are linking, we are importing that link component right here at the top. So we need to to style this span a bit. So class name going to be text dark, text base, and margin right of 16, because I want to leave some separation, so the text will go on the left and the button will go on the right. So that's what we are doing right here. The button itself, the only bit of text that we'll have is the word accept. We can of course make it a longer text, but that means we also need to play with this margin right, for example, and all of that. It's up to you. This is just an example. So class name, I want to get my BG custom, and every time I say custom underscore something means I'm using my custom color that I used inside my Tailwind config file. So I extended the theme colors. Okay, custom blue, padding Y of 2, padding X of 10. I want it to be rounded. Okay, that's cool. And I want the text to be white. Okay, cool. And of course, when the button gets clicked, we want to trigger something. We want to trigger this function. We want to run this function right here when the button gets clicked. For that, we need to use a onClick event. OnClick, okay, event. We want to do something. What we want to do? We want to run the function. So anonymous arrow function, and then run this function that we have defined right here. Chances are that I have not made any mistake. I have not made any mistake. I'm not really sure, so if I made a mistake, that's all fine. We'll fix it. So now we need to think, how are we going to have this banner appearing on every single page using just one single import, because we do not want the user to navigate the website if it's visiting for the first time. And how are we going to accomplish that? That's easy. We did that already. If you think about the navbar and the footer, we are already using that in any single route. Why is that? Because we are importing and including that in our layout.js file. And that means if we now import, and the component name is cookies consent, as we can see here. And now what we want to do is to use it. So I'm actually going to use my cookies consent right on top of the footer. And this should mean that if the user is visiting the website for the first time, we should see that banner. Okay, it was not working, but I did not change the code. I just needed to open on a different tab, and now it's working. But I can see that there's a problem. So I probably made a mistake in the styling part because my text is not white. Okay, so apart from it, I think it's all working. So let's fix that right away. We can now look at our final version, and we see it here, and this is what we should see. We see the white text, the blue button, and the gold background color, and this is working, and the same here. So this is working, okay, apart from the text color, which means I made some type of typo there. So let's just check. So it's the span. I'm not giving the color here. I'm giving the color here, and I found it. So it's text like this, and this should fix my problem. There we go. So now we do have what we want. So the user cannot really do anything until clicking this button. And if the user navigates to airport transfers, my computer is slow, so this looks like it's taking a lot, but if you were not in my computer, this will be quite fast. So as you can see, you can even navigate manually in case you know the routes, but you still have to press stuff. And if you click here, privacy, you should be taken to the privacy page, like expected. So this is all working, and this is good. So we have successfully finished our first custom component. That's really good. I'll see you on the next one. Hey, it's me again. Guess what? I just showed you how to create this cookie consent banner, and it is working fine. But I was not really happy with the code. So I made a slight change to the code. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm going to walk you through in order to make this code a tiny bit more, just more usual to what we normally see. So if we go back in the video, you will notice that on line 3, I was just importing React from React. And I was saying here react.useState, and in the useEffect I was doing react.useEffect. Of course that does work fine, okay, because we tested. But I was unhappy. I was not fully happy because I was thinking that this is not what you normally see. And I kind of mentioned it, that you normally would use a use state, blah blah blah. So I'm not really sure if I confused you or not. But what I'm telling you is this is an optional code refactor. So you can just leave it as it was, or you can simply go and do the changes that I did. And one more time, the changes is just to go from the import that I was using on line 3 to this import, the usual React hooks, use state and use effect, and then here you just need to remove React dot, and in the use effect you just also need to remove the React dot. So it's up to you the way you prefer. For me, this is way closer to what I normally do and see on other examples. So I'm gonna go with this. This is just an optional code refactoring. So it's up to you. Don't focus too much on that. It's just me being a perfectionist. Don't worry too much. Either way will do the job. So thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.